The number one thing I've learned while existing on this planet as a spiritual being in a human vessel is that this journey is about self-discovery. And as you discover self, you come home back to you to remember who you are. And the remembrance is that we are love. But the thing is, a lot of people are learning self-love in all the wrong ways, meaning they're learning it through egoism, they're learning it through being selfish, they're learning it through narcissism. And a lot of us don't understand we do have narcissistic tendencies, but we're not going to get into that, because today I want to share with you how to master self-love in a way where you don't need anything or anyone, not in a way where you are selfish or in a way where you're only thinking about yourself in a way that is self-loathing, because self-loathing is you hating yourself on the inside but praising yourself on the outside. No, that is not the goal. The goal here today is learning how to master self-love to the point you don't need anything or anyone, but you do it from a place of authenticity and vulnerability. Beautiful beings, welcome back, Awaken Ones, on another episode on Embracing Essential Series with your homegirl, Brittany Fontanez. If you're new to this channel, so glad to have you here. Been on this journey with me so far, you know the drill, gang, gang, only love. So glad that I could be an assistance for you on your journey. But if you want to know anything about me, all my information is down in the description box below, as well as all the info for my services, tarot readings, Reiki healing. I do therapy sessions, and also I have a healing course, and I sell merch. So go check that out below. And if you enjoy content just like this that assists you on your journey, then please hit that like button, subscribe to this channel. But I'll introduce myself. I am an energetic activator here to assist you on your journey to awaken to things you have yet to see with emotional awareness. And today, boo boo, you know, I just have to show off. I spoiled myself. I actually got this for someone's birthday, but they didn't want to come, so I spoiled myself. I got a tree house in the woods, and I highly fucking enjoy it. I'm gonna need to come back. They have chai tea, oh my lord. But today, beautiful beings, I want to share with you how to master self-love without needing anything or anyone. Now, the most important, beautiful thing about this is that this applies to absolutely every area of life. It applies to friends, it applies to family, it applies to relationship, it applies to jobs, it applies to substances, habits, thought patterns. Whatever you feel you have an attachment to that makes you neglect yourself, then this video is for you. Now, what I mean by, in the beginning, I said a lot of us are learning self-love in a way where there's egoic and self-loathing, is because a lot of people believe that when they choose self, they look at the world as like, you're not good enough for me. There's something wrong with you. And when we do that, we're only creating separation and a divide. And that is how the ego operates. It wants separation and division. Most of the time when we say we're loving ourselves, what we're really doing is actually separating ourselves from the things that we really want, because we're looking at things from a place of, that person doesn't deserve me. That is not good for me. That's toxic. That's negative. I want you guys to understand, we have to embrace the contradictions. We can't just embrace the highs of life and the good emotions only. Because when we neglect the lower vibrational emotions like anger, fear, sadness, we are always up in the air, always up in our minds, and always up in the higher chakras, which we're always in la la land. And this is where a lot of delusions and illusions happen. So the reason why we have to embrace contradictions in the lower vibrations of what we call negative or toxic, it helps us recognize the roots of what is causing how we feel. But we can plant roots in order to actually vibrate higher and grow into an actual sovereign being. So meaning when you look at a plant and there's weeds in there, the weeds are what we believe are negative, what we believe are toxic, but really they're just indicators. Emotions are just indicators of what is in the way of planting the roots in order for us to be our own powerful being and to see ourselves in the loving light and to express ourselves with vulnerability and authenticity. Now, a lot of people don't really know how to honor vulnerability and authenticity, because when they say they love themselves, they think about it in a way where I take care of my body, I eat healthy, you know, I choose me. But on the inside, you're not expressing how you feel. On the inside, you're not setting boundaries. On the inside, you're not actually being someone that you want to be, because you're trying to be liked by everyone else and keep the peace, but you're creating war within yourself. That's not the goal here today. God, is so fucking beautiful. Hold on, I need to show more of this for you guys. Yes, I had a fire last night. Oh my lord, and I cooked some shrimp. It complete me. But I did cry a lot last night too. It was an Aries new moon. We had full moon and a new moon in Aries. That's some powerful shit right there. So I hope you guys really set your attentions. But so let's get into, now that we're aware of the toxic ways of self-love and how we were taught to look at ourselves, and really taught how to still please the ego when the heart is still being neglected. So, how to master self-love without needing anything or anyone. Now, the way to master self-love is acknowledging all parts of self. Like I just said before, we have to acknowledge how our emotions are indicating to us how we observe ourselves and the world. Because like I said, emotions are indicators. Our thoughts are vibrations, meaning that they're really just trying to help us go shift through and observe how we are operating and how we are, that's causing these results that we want or don't want in this life. So the way to master self-love is acknowledge the lower vibrational emotions and acknowledge the high vibrational emotions, and acknowledge when you're neutral. When you can acknowledge how you feel and how you think, what you're doing is you're observing yourself. And when you observe yourself, that's self-awareness. That's the first way of mastering thyself. When you can observe self and become aware of self, you're able to change what no longer is serving self. Now, the second way to master self-love is by, I think this is the most humbling thing I've ever done, and that is to learn self-love. I learned to acknowledge where everyone is in life, because self-love really takes you becoming empathetic. And a lot of people lack empathy. This is why we lack vulnerability. See, the reason why we can't express ourselves is because what we're doing is that we're not really acknowledging our environment. We're not acknowledging other people. We're just absorbed in our own little world, to the point that we are so disconnected from other people. And this is why there's judgment. This is why there's hatred. This is why there's gossip, because no one wants to acknowledge how they feel. So therefore they're not acknowledging other people. So the most humbling thing I've ever done to help me really learn to master loving myself is that I've learned to love others regardless of how they treated me. It does require a little bit of forgiveness, but I don't know, just when I put myself in another person's shoes, it causes me to be very vulnerable in a way where I'm not only able to look at myself, but I'm able to look at another person, and instead of judging them, instead of like judging them in my head or saying bad things, I really ask myself, am I like that? Do I act like this? Do I feel like this? That really helps me observe myself, and it really helps me get down to, wow, some things I do resonate with, because hence why I attract certain people and certain things into my life. And when we could do this, when we could put ourselves in another person's shoes and observe how they feel with no judgment, we should be curious to really question, am I like that too? Because what we are perceiving in front of our eyes is what we really are on the inside. That's deep. What we are perceived on our eyes is what we are on the inside. Bro, that's the deepest shit I've ever fucking said. Let's go. So, I love when spirit channels through me. What a day. What a day. I hope you guys are having a lovely, bubbly day. But It's very true. So when we're able to acknowledge what's in front of our eyes and be curious to connect to it and question it, then we're able to actually go within ourselves and say, you know what? I can see that some things aren't serving me. It's like when you look at a person and you can see where they are, and it's like you could relate to that and relate it to yourself and see, they're in this predicament, but what was I in that predicament before? Did I go through that before? How did I get out of that? How do I get out of that? It makes you really question things about yourself when you could look at other people and be like, wow, I really resonate with that on some level, rather than thinking you're all high and mighty and an angel and thinking you're a know-it-all. Instead, just be open-minded, be open-hearted, put yourself in another person's shoes and really resonate with it to the point that you can learn how to be curious about how they feel, and then it can help you look at yourself. Because at the end of the day, a lot of us can look at ourselves, but a lot of us doesn't see everything about ourselves. This is why it's very important to have people around you that love you so they can call you out on your bullshit, because we don't really see everything about ourselves. So when we are able to be humble enough to do this individually on our own and be vulnerable and look at someone and resonate with them and question, are those the same things that I have within myself? Because we attract what we are. And then we could be able to really learn how to master loving ourselves and seeing, if these things are happening outside of me, then what do I need to adjust within me? So that is the second way on how to master self-love. Now, the last one, you guys, I'm just really going off of my experiences right now. But the last one, how to master self-love, this is where the authenticity comes in. And I'm going to share with you guys at the end how to master self-love to the point of not needing anything or anyone, where there's not a point of an attachment to the point you're trying to fill a void with that attachment. But the last way to master self-love is, this is where the authenticity comes in. Authenticity is giving yourself permission to express who you are regardless of not being liked or loved. That is the most important thing I've ever learned upon my journey through my own revelations, is that, I started to realize how much I try to keep the peace around people by not speaking up, by not saying how I feel, by not being vulnerable and expressing myself. And regardless, when I did that, I was I had such expectations of outcome towards people, like, if I say this or if I do this, I could get this from that person, or that person might come back. When it comes to relationships, I used to be a manipulator. It's like, what, if I ignore them, if I say this, then they'll have no choice but to see how I feel, and they'll give me what I want. And when it comes to friendships, I always gave up part of myself, because if I do, then I feel like I wouldn't have friends, I will always spend money. I will always do this. I will always do that. I'm always there for them. I always pick up for their phone calls, but they were never there for me. Or when it comes to substances at that, I mean, not too long ago, I did drink and I did smoke, but it was such an overindulgence to the point I literally vomited, and I realized, no, I can't do this no more. I can't. I could be around people that do that, but doesn't mean I have to be a part of that, because even though I'm in this world, it doesn't mean I have to be of this world. So realizing, being authentic means that you're making choices based off what is right and good for you and your higher self, regardless of what people think about it. Like I said, and not only that, this applies to yourself too, that you're giving yourself permission to do things that are good for you, and to stop things that aren't good for you. So the way I've done this is that when I go out with people and they're drinking and stuff like that, there was this one time where I was drinking with a friend, and something told me to stop drinking. And then she kept pushing it on me. You don't want another drink? You don't want another drink? I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm like, wow, you're weak. And I was like, I literally looked at her and I was like, what's pathetic is that this is me expressing myself and being authentic. What's pathetic is that you define someone's worth based on the level of how they can drink. That says a lot about you. See, don't be fearful to cause tension. Don't be fearful to be you. Don't be fearful to express yourself, because your authenticity is what attracts the right people and the right things to you, and experiences and opportunities. And then, for another example is when, You know, we're so caught up in a relationship or connecting with a romantic partner. We want them to see us. We want them to hear us. We want them to appreciate us. And when we try so hard to express ourselves to the point we over text, we over communicate, we over call, or, you know, we overdo. And the way to stop attaching yourself to these expecting outcomes from people and from substances and things that you think, like, if my job gives me more money, I'll be happier. If I do these, if I smoke, if I drink, I will feel more at ease. The way to stop attaching yourself to these things and to these people is by looking at yourself and being authentic enough to say, this is not what my heart wants. My ego wants instant gratification, but my heart wants me to be present with it. The reason why we run to these things and attach to these things and it causes us to be inauthentic and superficial is because we're seeking validation. We're seeking feeling whole. We're seeking feeling like we have a sense of control. But really, that's just a way to neglect self and abandon self, if I'm going to be real blunt with you guys. So the most authentic thing that you can ever do is be honest about who you are and show up. Take up motherfucking space, bro. I love going out and I take up space. And it gets to a point where some people like to make fun of me or humiliate me in front of people. And it's like, go ahead, boo. Go ahead. Because at the end of the day, I know I love who I am, regardless of not being loved by the world. Because I'm not here to be loved or liked. I'm here to do that and give that to myself. And that's what I want to share with you guys. Mastering self-love takes vulnerability, authenticity. And that requires you giving yourself permission to feel how you feel and know that it's okay to express what you want to express and knowing that it deserves to be heard, regardless if it's not really taken in the context that you want it to be taken in. It's okay to let go and not expect and not attach. Let go to the point that you're not trying to expect an outcome, but you're letting go because you want to bring the energy back to yourself. You want to give all that love that you pour into the world back into your cup. I'm like, I hear it walking and it's a squirrel. It's a squirrel. I saw a fox last night. It was the most exciting thing ever. My squirrel mind just got in the way. But that's the thing, you guys. So how to master self-love is by being authentic and vulnerable and being okay with things and people leaving your life that you know aren't serving the fulfillment of what you desire within your heart. But if they're gratifying your instant gratification, meaning your ego, then you got to check yourself. And that is another form of self-love, checking yourself. A lot of people don't want to check themselves. A lot of people don't want to do the inner work. A lot of people don't want to do the shadow work. A lot of people don't want to recognize that they're the problem or why a relationship is not working out. A lot of people don't want to recognize why is it that they don't have any friends. Maybe because it's them. A lot of people don't want to recognize why is it that they're in the particular circumstances that they're in their life. It's because the substances that they take. It's no, when we're always playing the blame game and pointing the finger, we are lacking acknowledging self, and we are being arrogant and maturing self. Oh, the shit that I'm saying today. Blowing my own mind. So you guys, how to stop needing people and needy things is by recognizing, yes, we hear that saying, everything outside of you is one with you. Everything outside of you is you. But the way to stop attaching yourself to these outer things, to these people, to these things that give you a sense of wanting control, but not in a healthy manner, is by recognizing that it's okay not being okay. That's the most important thing a lot of people don't understand. It's okay not to be okay. It's okay not to feel good. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be angry. It's okay to feel like you're not appreciated. It's okay to feel like you're the problem. It's okay to know that you're in a problem because of you. It's all okay. When we can acknowledge the contradictions and the imperfections of ourselves, then we could acknowledge the solutions and the perfect perspectives of ourselves in order for things to really shift. So it's the most important thing to learn how to stop attached to these things is like, and people, is that it's okay to feel how you feel. It's okay to be sad. It's okay to be lonely. But what is not okay is you thinking that you deserve less than what you know you want. That's not okay. So You guys, I hope these little snippets, these little tips that I put in this video was helpful and informative, because my only goal with this video is to teach you how to love yourself in a way where you are able to be open to attract things that are for your highest good. But here's the thing, some of us, I'm going to be real blunt, and this is where the authenticity has come in. A lot of us are attached to toxicity, toxic people, toxic ways of being, toxic ways of thinking, toxic ways of doing. So when we could acknowledge these ways that we are toxic within ourselves, then we could acknowledge the purifications and the innocent parts of ourselves. But it first requires us embracing all parts of ourselves to truly love who we are. Because loving self is not just the outside. Loving self is the inside. Loving self is looking at the spirit, not just looking at the flesh. So in the spirit is where everything is held. So we have to acknowledge that. But you guys, I really hope this was informative and this assisted you. And if you want to book your own healing session, all that information is down in the description box below. But if you really enjoyed this video, please hit that like button, subscribe to this channel, and also hit that notification button so you won't miss out on any videos. And you guys, when you do this, learning how to master self-love, I guarantee you that you will enjoy spoiling yourself. You will enjoy doing the work. You will enjoy see the imperfections of yourself, because you'll recognize that all along what you were looking for to fill that void was right in front of you, and that is you. So other than that, you guys, I love you so much, and I'll see you in the next one.